Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? It's good to see you. Who have we got? Hey, Dagfin. Always a pleasure. And Ayup Dad. So, who else have we got hanging out with us tonight? Be sure to drop a message when you drop in. Mr. J-Mai, hello, good to see you. Welcome back. So, for those of you who didn't see on the Kickstarter update, tonight I will be sculpting one of the stretch goals that we unlocked a couple of days ago, which is the Gremlin Terror. That's P-T-E-R-R-A. So these are basically like bird-like contraptions that they connect to themselves to fly. There is a piece of artwork that I will be loosely, actually, I say loosely, pretty strongly basing it on. You can find that on the Kickstarter page. There's just a link below. But imagine like a goblin dressed like a bird flying around. Treadhead, good to see you, man. Long time no catch sculpting, I know. Dagvin saying, got our cat in my lap to keep you and Goblin company. Oh, thank you very much. So, once again, I will start off from scratch rather than using dollies or anything like that. I just think it's a bit more fun and interesting to watch for you guys. Onowu, hello, welcome to the chat. You, Tom Mason, and Sean Stutter inspire me to keep trying my hand at sculpting. Yes, highly revered halls of sculpting endeavour to be placed next to those guys. I'm glad that we can inspire you. I don't suppose you've had a chance to have a go at ZBrush yet. I won't start my ZBrush for iPad rantings and ravings just yet, but it is definitely a bit of a game changer when it comes to making sculpting accessible and enjoyable for new artists. Well, not new artists, but new to the craft artists. Hey Ernest, good to see you. I have been tinkering with ZBrush and Nomad Sculpt. Excellent. Is that on the, I think is Nomad just on the iPad? Or have you been doing it on desktop? Evening, Henry. Good to see you again. It's iPad, Android, and desktop. Mine is mostly Android. Cool. So you are you working on like an Android tablet, or are you being an absolute mad person and trying to sculpt on your phone? I mean, I know a couple of people whose names shall be anonymous, who either did for many years or still do sculpt with a mouse on their desktop, which I think is absolutely insane. But they did some, or still do some absolutely fantastic work, which I guess goes to show what you can achieve despite the tools. So what's everyone working on tonight, or up to, shall we say? Are you doing some hobby stuff? Are you sitting and painting? Are you just chilling out? Share with us what you've got planned for tonight. Eyesight too bad to do on the phone for too long. Henry, looking forward to seeing the Terror. How do you avoid replicating poses and designs when doing second versions? Do you find it easy, or do you find you default to a previous iteration? I mean, I think it always depends on what the kind of thing is, because I think certain things kind of lean themselves into similar poses. Like if you're doing like an archer, for example, a lot of the poses are going to be some variation of pulling back the bow. I think coming up with new archer poses is always difficult. And then I think with the Terror as well, so this is going to be, or at least the first of the second edition ones. I did do a version for first edition for the Gremlins, but this is going to be slightly different. And you'll have to dig around on my website to try and find this first edition one. As ArcWorlde veterans all know, I hate my first edition sculpts, so I hide them on the website so you can't find them. Sculpting on a phone would be an awesome challenge for you, Alex. Do you want to kill me? I mean, I went to London with my wife, Wing Shan, because she was performing her tabletop game at the Tate Britain, which was absolutely amazing. But on the train down to London, I managed to get some sculpting done, which was great. I sculpted the other two of the Gremlin scamps for the add-on pack, but sculpting on a train that's rocking backwards and forwards all the time was a challenge for my nerves, shall we say. Let's just say I was very glad that there was like an undo function, but sculpting on a phone, now that does sound challenging. Elliot, look at those buns. Good to see you, man. Rob Huntley, knackered after a full day's resin casting web orders. It's a good sign, isn't it? Yeah, we really have had a fantastic influx of new people since the Kickstarter's launched, and that has kind of drawn a lot of people over to the website to check out all the other stuff that we do. That's not just Gremlins. So thank you so much to all of you for keeping us busy. And when I say us, I mean my poor dad, who has to cast everything. Treadhead at work doing data entry for international students. Tonight, hopefully working on some terrain for Vikings. Cool. So are you doing data entry whilst listening to this? Because I always struggle whenever I'm doing like admin stuff. I can never have like talky like audio on. It always has to be something that's acoustic, like music, or sometimes I just kind of go with kind of biurnal kind of noises. Too bad Rob is casting me an old one then. Also, first of, are there going to be multiple? Well, you never know. I mean, anything can happen if we hit enough stretch goals, right? Oh, which reminds me, let's drop a save. work on these beans. Treadhead says, have to have something in my ears or I'll lose what little sanity I have left. Mostly music, but it's not like you are yelling and screaming. It's relaxing to listen and glance over to see your work. I'm very glad that I can help. Dagfin says, how cool will it be if the gremlin has glued feathers over himself to help him fly? That would be a good idea. Perhaps that would be an idea for the next one, if I do a next one. Up that resolution a little bit. There we go. Will the frog you made for the stretch goal have a role in ArcWorlde? Yes, it will, which is actually, and this is actually quite fortuitous. So for those of you who haven't been following along, one of the stretch goals that we unlocked quite early on in the campaign was a community like sculpt, where I would put a poll where people would vote on various like attributes that a model would have, and then the winners of each round would obviously end up being thing, and the vote eventually was for a frog. That's just what the community wanted. They just wanted a little frog. And that fits very nicely with the new campaign that I've written for, not for the Gremlins, but to coincide with the Gremlins' descent into the nether regions. So, for those of you who... Hang on just a second. Yes, so for those of you who are not super au fait with the rules, there is an element of the rules called environments, and the environments are basically where you are having the game, how the environment, the landscape, kind of randomly reacts and changes throughout the course of the battle. And this can be a really fun way to introduce, random elements that the players have to deal with or utilize or take advantage of. It's not like a required part of the game. It's just something that's there that you can add on just to add like a little bit of extra flair. And the nether regions, which is this kind of like underground, cavernous forest, very kind of Hollow Earth type place where the gremlins come from. There's one of the options that you can randomly get is a large bulbous toad hops out of the underbrush. Its vacant stare belies the flesh-rotting toxins that its bright colours so vividly warn of. Using the random placement grid, place a noxious toad on the game board. It is on a 30mm base, has 3 HP, and is controlled by the Rogue Warband rules. It does not attack, however any character that is ever in base contact with it loses 2d6 HP. Which fits that vote quite well. So I wanted to kind of make it look very kind of innocent and vacant, but when I do like the official paint job of it, I'm going to paint it like some wacky colours so it looks like it's going to be quite dangerous. Nevermore, good evening everyone watching without sound today. Well, I guess if you're watching without sound, there's no reason for me to say hello, but I will say hello anyway, and hopefully, psychically, you will know that I've said hello. Yeah, but for those of you who haven't yet checked out the campaign, the new campaign, you can find it on the Kickstarter page. Thank you, Henry. Is someone strangling Goblin? No. She just likes to sing. I think the silly thing is that whenever I'm streaming, I kind of lock myself away in the living room to try, not make as like kind of stay away from the noise. And then I'm sure many of you that have cats will be like, and then the cat's like, but what? Hang on, whoa, well, wait a second. Why am I being locked out of a room? Me, of all people, why would I be locked out of the room? This is very odd. This is very bizarre. There must be something going on. Meow. Oh. One of the things about running a Kickstarter is that you're constantly checking the campaign page, and it's always upsetting when someone drops out. Yeah. I just went to go and look at the the artwork of the terror, and I was like, okay, I'll just check see how the campaign is doing, and like, oh, it's just gone down again. Honestly, it drives one insane. Henry says, I didn't realize it goes up and down so much. Oh, buddy. It's constant. Like, it's just like, it is a part of the process. Like, I never take it, like, personally. It's not like oh, no one likes me situation. It is very much just like, I know that, people's situations change, like they over budget, or like, something happens where they have to kind of dial their project funds back a little bit. But it plays in my emotions so much, particularly when it's around a stretch goal. Because it always seems to be that as soon as we've broken a stretch goal, like, there's just a lot of dancing backwards and forwards, which I always try and wait a little bit before, like, I announce the stretch goal being hit. Just because, like, it is so common that I'll see that it's been broken and then someone will drop out for 200 quid. That looks weird. That's why he doesn't take off the mask, everyone. Actually, I'm a bit worried that that's a little bit too thin. That gap. There we go. I think that's much better. Do you also see the initial spike, the middle plateau, and the final surge? I back loads of Morkborg and associated RPG projects, and the creator said every single one of their projects does this. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Like, without fail. There's always an insane surge at the beginning because all the people that have been actively, like, waiting for the project to launch kind of want to be there right at the start, like you're kind of making the most of that kind of your existing fan base. Then you've got the desert of the middle of the project where they might not get many backers, but they get lots of new follows, and people kind of look at it and think, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I'll come back and see what that gets up to. And then final boost at the end when everyone, like the second biggest moment of the whole campaign is probably about 48 hours after the launch. No, 48 hours before the end of the project, because Kickstarter sends out a message to all of the people that selected follow, and they're like, oh, by the way, guys, your time's running out. You've got 48 hours left to back the project. So that normally boots people up the bum to kind of go, oh yeah, actually I forgot about that. Wayne Burton, I definitely need to add my pledge to get the t-shirts. I'm glad you like them. Everyone's going to be looking so swanky. Ghoul is asking, is ArcWorlde beginner friendly? Is it similar to Arc and Horror LCG? I'm not sure about that, but I will definitely say that it is beginner friendly. Like when I designed the rules, I wanted it to be something that anyone could pick up, even if they weren't super like knowledgeable about tabletop gaming. Like it's very simple, quick rules. Like it very much is like a vibe-based thing, so it's not super kind of competitive and crunchy. But as I think somebody has already mentioned, I have just made a how to play ArcWorlde in 10 minutes video. So it's just 10 minutes long, and it gives you a real kind of like a quick overview around the kind of the core game mechanics and how they work. Yep, Warp will be at Adepticon next year. Milwaukee, yeah, we will be at Adepticon next year. Evening, Ed. Yeah, it's a really good con. Henry, wait, there's a t-shirt. How did I miss that? Because I snuck it on. I mean, you obviously don't check the Discord that much because I posted it on the Discord. How dare you miss that? Adepticon and ReaperCon are the two I want to go to. Gen Con is too big. Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews about Gen Con. Like everyone keeps saying that we should go. Ghoul is saying, thanks, I have to look into it. I've one vendor in my country that sells it. Oh, cool. Which country is that? Perhaps I could suggest some more. Gen Con, I think, is similar to Games Expo in the UK, which has so much amazing stuff. It really is overwhelming, absolutely. So, Wing Shan and I did UK Games Expo this year, and it really was an amazing experience. We only managed to see a very tiny proportion of it. But I think one of the beauties of not Gen Con, the other one, Adepticon, is that it is everyone who is there for miniatures. Like miniature games are the reason why they are there. So it's a much kind of easier community to sell a new game to, because you're not having to explain how wargaming works. Or you're trying to explain wargaming to the RPG players and then RPGs to the wargamers. Seeing as ArcWorlde has a little bit of RPG to it. Shredheads, are there any USA retailers carrying ArcWorlde? Yes, there's actually quite a few. We do have a US distributor, ACD, now. So it is open to be carried by any retailer in the US. The two off the top of my head that I know definitely stock our stuff are Badger Games, Noble Knight, I think, is another one. There's obviously the people that have been buying directly from ACD, but it's definitely in a few stores. Dagfin, do you check how thick the sculpts are and be risk of breaking when cast? Yes, I mean, I generally have like a pretty good idea, but there's always going to be like some kind of risky business involved. But I normally fix that when we get, because with all of the ArcWorlde models, I get like really high quality prints done. So if there is anything that does seem a little bit too flimsy, I will sculpt kind of with putty onto it as well. Oh, interesting. I will, I assume you mean see if my nearest game shop get it from ACD. Absolutely. Ed, I've seen that you do a lot of stuff symmetrically when you're sculpting. Do you typically spend much time afterwards tweaking each side to make them different? Yes, I do. Yeah, that is a very important stage in the process. It's just little wobbles here and there just to make it slightly different. Because it really does help with the aesthetic. Question for USA folks, have you been to medieval times? If yes, what's it like? I'd love to try fit it in when we fly to Chicago for Adepticon. Yeah, absolutely. So Wingshan and I have recently really gotten into LARPing. And I think we'd always really like to go to like a Ren Fair or, you know, that kind of stuff which you guys do so well over there. I loved LARPing when I could. I only went to CP once, but know quite a few people who still play. Yeah, CP is the one that we go to. Goblin is getting pretty angry about us talking about being away from home. Treadhead I've been, but it's been 30 years. It's a strange experience. You sit in a small stadium surrounding the field of combat. You have a counter in front of you, you get food. I mean, you go to joust, ground combat, skits. Yeah, that sounds great. If Goblin ever gets a boyfriend, could its name be Gremlin? Good night, Evermore. There's probably a video of it on YouTube. There is Dolly Parton Dixie show in Branson that they base medieval times on. Oh, very cool. Girl, I hear a baby. Yeah, she's definitely our baby. Gremlin cat boyfriend of 50,000 stretch goal, perhaps. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we might just be able to afford another Sphinx cat if the Kickstarter gets 20 grand. So it's 50 grand. Dolly Parton show was around first, medieval times, like if someone took that show and threw it in a Ren fair, I mean, I think you could not have said a sentence more appealing to my wife just then. My one CP game, I was technically a lion, but spent more time with the Vipers. I mean, my mate got hired to steal a chest from the Wolves, which is far more of a story than I could type on YouTube. I see. We do love those kind of adventure stories. I mean, Wing and I have only ever been, we've been twice so far, but I do think that it's going to be a firm part of our calendars going forwards. It was very funny because Wing came back because she had a couple of missions she had to do with dealing with the lions, and she's like, I don't get it. Like, why would you want to roleplay as a peasant? Like, why? Like, the fact that because the faction that we're a part of is called Jerrig, and they're very like everyone's equal, everyone can have a say. Like, whereas with the lions, they're very much kind of very like knights and lords and commoners types. So you have all of the lord characters are sat in a big tent discussing things, and all the peasants just kind of sat outside. And Wing came up to them and was like, "Why are you guys in there?" And they're like, "Oh well, we're peasants. We don't get involved with like the running of the country So she's like, "Why would you want to role play that? Like, it's a world where you can be anything you want. Why would you want to be a peasant?" Yes, there were gnomes there this year, and I was like, I can't bloody escape gnomes. And I posted a video on my Instagram reels about it, and then one of the gnomes commented and was like, "Oh my god, that's us!" Everyone loves the dodgy geezers. Like, be the Del Boy you were born to be. Cool, so I think that's it for the kind of the mirrored part. Actually, no, I'm going to go into that helmet a little bit more. Oh, what happened there? Not that one, this one. I was going to say, I would argue that the actual Gremlins Kickstarter is entirely populated by dodgy little geezers. It's funny, one of our, like, taglines we keep saying to people at trade shows is that we're in the business of making silly little guys. Wingshan frantically backpedaling. Funny thing is, it's normally me getting told off for saying something that could be perceived as something else. Because I'm very bad at that. Although I feel like I've gotten better. Yeah, there we go. Right, time to add some magic. Dagfin's wife says it looks like a Kinder Surprise miniature from back in the day. I'll take that as a compliment. Nether regions, I feel you do lead into the dodgy sometimes. Oh. How do you mean? How do you mean you insult my dignity, sir? Everything I do is very sincere. Pull those ears back a little bit just so they're easier to cast. There we go. Blend the arm joins a little bit. Don't need to do any detail on the back because of his wings. add a little bit more kind of random texture on the fur. I think I'm going to ideally I'd quite like that mouth to join to the body just so it's easier cast. But then you'd be able to see too much of the face. So I think the good way to do it so it's an easier thing to cast, I think I'm going to take some inspiration from what Dagfinn said. Maybe give him a bit of a vulture-like ruff. Which is a shame because I'd just done all of that nice shoulder work, but oh well. No, it doesn't look as good. It doesn't look that bad. There we go, I think that's a good compromise, and then I can build up behind there. Good to see you, Ed. Have a good night, mate. Cool. No, Ghoul, it's my very loud cat. So it's a combination of, she's on heat at the moment, so is quite needy and loud. But it's also the fact that I've locked myself in the living room. So she's like, what? Why am I locked out? Why am I locked out? I think there needs to be something that would like block the face, be able to see the face from the mouth. do you think, guys? Tongue or no tongue? Actually, I'm leaning towards no tongue. I quite like the kind of the Kermit the Frog look. There we go, I think that's about right. Cool, cool. Right. Oh yeah, it's good to hear that there's been a winner. I did really like that Skin Priest. Now let's just give it a little bit of... raggedy bits. Whoop. Just gonna pinch that a little bit. I think it's just a bit too thin. Miss J. Meyer, well, it's time for me to head to bed. Nighty night. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Look at this abomination. There we go, much better. Thank you, Doc. I'm really happy with how he's coming out as well. So in terms of how he's going to fit kind of on the base, I imagine putting on like a piece of wood or like a piece of wire or something. It's probably going to be the most elegant way to do it. Now, do you guys think that I should put like a very definite hole, like I'm probably thinking like where his cummerbund thing is, so that people can put like a piece of metal? I think another good place would be like here. Or do you think I should just leave it up to the customer to figure it out? Because, you know, he could be posed like this, or this, or this. Like, there's lots of ways you could pose him. Nice Night Tread, thank you for joining. Hopefully see you again soon. We're doing another, will be our final stream of the campaign. Will be same time next week. Have the edge of the wing touch a big rock and then use that as the stand. Yeah, I was thinking about that, but then I did think that if I left it more open, people could base it how they wanted. But I can give that a go. So the only way I could do it with the rock is at this angle here, which I don't think looks right. Because I don't want this character to be multi-parts. I think particularly because he's a free model that's going to be included in a lot of pledges. Anything multi-part is not going to be good. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. think the dangling rope or dust would be a lot. I think it would snap. I think it's quite a large model. I think if it was something thin like a piece of rope or dust. There, that way it's not like the worst thing in the world if people want to put it off. Wait a second. What's that? Oh no. I'm gonna have to go all the way back. Actually, wait, I'm stupid. Forget that the layers are separate. Come on, Alex. There we go. That's why. For some reason, there's just a tiny little mask there. Okay, so that's the original. If I kind of do it there. But then it kind of just looks like he's tiptoeing on the tip of the rock. I think the dust might be the better option. Kind of like that. And then with the puddle base, like it's swooshed on a gust of air. Under here needs to yeah, I think that works well. little bit to the side so it's a little bit more balanced. And there we go, folks. I think that's about done, with a minute to spare before the 2 hours are up. So I hope you enjoyed watching the process of sculpting this guy. It was quite a chilled one this time around. So in terms of our final stream, it's going to be Wednesday again next week. I'm not quite sure what we'll be sculpting yet. That very much depends on what stretch goals we unlock before then. I've still got some quite exciting projects in the bank, just in case we do hit those higher end stretch goals. And if we do, before the time we start streaming, then I'll be more than happy to sculpt it with you. So thank you all so much for joining me again for another stream. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Be sure to join us on the Discord if you haven't already. And the Gremlins Kickstarter will be running until next Friday. So that's Friday the 19th at 8 p.m. UK time. I'm not sure what it is across the various other nations and regions you guys are from, but make sure it's 8 p.m. UK time. Okay? Good night, everyone. Thank you very much.